A wild week 1 of college football, we'll give our impressions. Backed up quarterbacks will help to keep playoff hopes alive for 2 contenders. Who do we think has the best chance? And Clayton Kershaw is making his return from the DL. What are we expecting out of him? Find out next. MCTV Sports 101 starts now. Hey there, sports fans, and welcome to the fall edition of MCTV Sports 101. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle.
Man, Billy, I gotta say, it's great to be back. Fall edition, football's here. It's a great time of year.
Yeah, and it was a great summer for the sports world as the Olympics rolled on through and the USA got the gold in us, as we always do. And it was just a good summer for sports all around.
Sure was.
But, well, let's get to it. So let's get this show rolling. This past weekend, Texas Tech steamrolled their way past the SFA Lumberjacks 69-17 and now turn their focus towards a road contest in Tempe against Arizona State. Kyle, what are your first impressions of Tech, and what are you expecting to happen this weekend?
Well, I got to say, first off, I'm going to start with the defense. I thought the defense looked pretty good in week 1. Granted, it was against SFA, so it was, lesser competition.
And what I like about it is those are the teams that you have to beat like that,
Yeah. Well, they did their job.
Exactly.
We held a team under 100 yards rushing, Billy. I don't know when the last time we've done that was.
It was a miracle. They came out, from the beginning to the end of the game. They were just controlling the line of scrimmage. They had the flow. You never felt like the balance of the game was uneven or wary. You knew that Tech had this one from the get-go, and they rode it all the way through.
And we actually had hard hits on the defense. You actually heard contact, and it was not very many missed tackles, which is a step up. And you look at last year's game in week 1 against Sam Houston. We really struggled in that game. I think it was only 14 points.
And their opponent, much like SFA, is not a big school, just looking to be and do the best they can.
Well, Sam is obviously a little better FCS school than SFA, but, we gave up 300 yards rushing to them last year. So the fact that we held a team under 100 yards rushing, I think it was 60. We had -3, I believe, at halftime.
Yeah.
Andre Pipkins made a huge difference up front, in my opinion. Colin Hill as well on the outside edge rush. Hill actually got back there and had a sack as well in the game. So they impressed me. Broderick Washington, the true freshman that you've kind of been hearing about, a big guy up the middle as well, playing behind Pipkins. He looked impressive in the moments that he got in. I believe he had a sack. I believe he just touched the quarterback and he fell. So, that was pretty impressive.
But, let's not forget about the superstar on campus. Everybody knows who we're going to talk about. Pat Mahomes doing his thing, accounting for 6 touchdowns, 4 throwing and 2 rushing. The man's doing it all. And as you brought up earlier before the show, we were talking about a great comparison that Pat Mahomes looks like. He's got the size and structure of a Cam Newton. And what he can do in his glass ceiling, it's you can't fathom of all the things he can accomplish.
Well, and a lot of people want to make that comparison to Johnny Manziel. Okay, he does do some things, but in his body stature, he is a Cam Newton comparison. He doesn't run as much as Cam Newton, which I'm more thankful of. I'd like to see him get down a little bit more.
Be a better passer.
But yeah, he was impressive. 483 yards, no interceptions. That was a big problem for him last year, was interceptions. He didn't have any in week 1.
Just taking care of the ball.
Real quick, what do you think Tech's going to do this weekend?
It should be. I think it should be an easy Tech win. Arizona State It's not going to be, just given to us by any means. But it's a game that I'm expecting us to win fairly.
I think it's going to be close. Not close. I'm sorry. I think that it's going to be a good test for us. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Tech wins at least by 14 or more. I think Pat Mahomes has a huge day. So
I agree.
Staying with college football, week 1 was one for the ages with 3 top 10 teams faltering. Billy, which teams or games stood out to you in week 1?
There were a lot of games out there, the Texas game, the Alabama game, the way that impressive win that they had.
Domination right there.
But the one that stood out to me is, Oklahoma falling down to Houston. We all thought it was going to be a tough test for Oklahoma, but I don't think anybody saw that coming the way that it happened.
And Houston dominated that game. It's not like it came down to the final seconds. That was domination.
Oh, yeah. You never for once thought or felt that Oklahoma was in control of that game. They were on their heels from the get-go, and they were playing catch-up, and it just looked like Houston had the answers, and they didn't.
Well, early on, Mayfield looked impressive throwing the ball a little bit. Joe Mixon got involved. Perine did get a little hurt in that game as well. So I don't know if that messed them up. The rushing yards was a huge deal. Oklahoma never got really anything going between Perine and Mixon, who I think is probably the best backfield in the nation.
Yeah, the best back combo.
Yeah, and so I thought it was impressive. Houston, I think, made a case to be in the Big 12. Look at their last 2 wins, FSU, Florida State, and then now Oklahoma, and they dominated both of those games. So I think that they would be a good addition to the Big 12. I know we'll probably say that for another time, a whole another story. But yeah, they looked impressive. Greg Ward Jr. He's the real deal.
And another game I want to go back to this that Texas Notre Dame game. Talk about a thriller, a barn burner to the finish, with a freshman quarterback in Shane Buechele coming out there and just surprising the nation on the national stage and showing up to play. It was remarkable what he did. His accuracy on the long ball was incredible. He was hitting players on a dime, and he would have even had a better game if there weren't some drops by those Texas receivers.
Yeah, and I think John Burt was one of those receivers that had a couple of drops as well. You look at his numbers; he had 6 catches, 111 yards, but he could have had about.
I know he had a deep one down the sideline in the first. So
I thought Shane Buechele was impressive. I was not expecting that out of Texas. I don't think I've ever in my life seen a fast-paced Texas offense like that.
So what do you see? How do you feel about the duo quarterback they had with Swoops and Buechele?
I like that. I think they look good.
Do you think they ran it efficiently?
Yeah, I think Tyron Swoops looked good. Oklahoma State kind of did the same thing last year with J.W. Walsh, except he was a better passer and not as big physically. I just think it's a little too early to say Texas is back. It's one win. Notre Dame really, their offense looked good, but Deshaun Kaiser should have been in every possession. Malik Zaire, after Deshaun Kaiser scored that opening touchdown, Zaire shouldn't have got the situation.
Yeah, they should have never
messed him up doing that. So I think Texas is going to be good, but we'll have to see what they do. I think when they go to Cal, we'll see a little bit more. The first NFL Sunday of the fall gets underway, and 2 teams are hoping backup quarterbacks can keep their postseason hopes alive. Dak Prescott will lead the Dallas Cowboys against the New York Giants in place of the injured Tony Romo, while in Tennessee, either Shaun Hill or Sam Bradford will run the offense for the Minnesota Vikings against the Tennessee Titans. Billy, which team do you give the best shot at making the playoffs, and which quarterback will have the better season?
Well, I'll start off by answering the question about who has a better shot at making the playoffs. And being a Dallas Cowboys fan, I want to say it's them, but I got to be honest, it's not.
Oh, really?
The Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings, with the defense that they've got in place, and with them bringing in Sam Bradford. Now, I don't know that he'll start Week 1, but obviously, I think that's why they brought him in, is to get him a starter, rebuild that connection with Adrian Peterson that they had once at Oklahoma. And I think the Cowboys they'll do fairly well, but with Dak being a rookie, and he showed great spurts in the preseason of what he can do. But when just looking at it overall, rookie quarterback with a defense that's questionable at best, it'll be a tough road for him. Once Romo gets back, if Dak can keep the ship alive until Romo can get back and hopefully stay in healthy, then they've got a shot. But just as of right now today, I think the Vikings got a better shot.
I'm actually going to disagree with you. I think it's the Dallas Cowboys, and that's kind of shocking for me. I'm a Houston Texans fan. I think they have a better offense than Minnesota. Adrian Peterson's getting up there in age. He's still going to be dominant, but without a quarterback, they're going to focus more on him, and it's going to be a little tougher for him. I think Ezekiel Elliott makes a huge difference for the Dallas Cowboys behind that offensive line. Des Bryant is a go-to receiver for Dak Prescott. Prescott's running ability, I think, will help him. And I've heard an interesting statement somebody said this morning, I think it was Trent Dilfer, was like, Dak Prescott will take over that starting job. Tony Romo won't see the field this year. I thought that was a bold statement. I think the Cowboys have the best chance. The NFC, it's East, right? NFC East. It's not a very good division. I think the Cowboys have the best shot. That's just me.
We'll see. And I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Transitioning to the MLB, Clayton Kershaw makes his first start since June 26 tonight against the Miami Marlins. Kyle, what are you expecting out of Kershaw, and how does his return affect the NL West race?
Well, I think tonight I'm not expecting too much. I'm not expecting Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah,
I'm expecting a guy that's coming back.
You got to give him some time.
He's going to have a little rust. Now, he might still come out and throw a one-hitter and go 9 innings. Who knows? But Clayton Kershaw is one of the best pitchers in baseball.
No doubt.
If he didn't get hurt, he was going to put up a season for the ages. He already had a season for the ages as well, but he had 9 walks in 121 innings. We're not talking about a reliever here. We are talking about a guy that's going 9 innings, 7, 8, 9 innings a game.
Seeing hundreds of pitches a game.
Yeah, so he is very good. I'll give a lot of credit to the Dodgers. They did very well without him. They were 8 games back to the Giants when he went on the DL. Now they're 5 games up on the Giants. Now the Giants have really struggled in the second half. But I find that very impressive. The offense has been a lot better than in recent years. Corey Seager's led the way.
And what I find interesting is, and it was a bold move by the Dodgers, but sending Yasiel Puig down to the minors and sending that ball club a real message saying, hey, no one's too good for this team, and no one is above the team. And I think that spoke volumes for the team. And now giving it back, and now I don't know that Puig will even stay in LA.
Well, now I'm wondering, does Clayton Kershaw give them the edge now, maybe to finally make that postseason run that they have been waiting on for so long? They got the offense. They have backup, a good secondary pitching.
Yeah.
Kenta Maeda has done really good in his absence. 14-8 with a 3.29 ERA. Now it's not what Zach Greinke was last year, but the Dodgers are a legit team with Clayton Kershaw coming back. It really makes them dangerous in October.
We'll see.
Well, that's our show for this week's edition of MCTV Sports 101. Join us next week for the latest big name stories in sports. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle. Till next time.